بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير، الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور، الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير، ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير، وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير. إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور تكاد تميز من الغيظ، كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير، قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير، فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسحقا لأصحاب السعير. إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thanks, Brother Hussein, for the beautiful recitation. It's the 4th week in a row, inshallah. Next week you will have a break. We'll try to find somebody else to help you out. Thank you very much for that beautiful recitation. Again, I'm very happy and glad, and I think we're all very happy to see that we'll have H.D.F with us tonight to speak about our 3rd Imam, Imam الحسين عليه السلام. An Imam that we hear a lot about during Karbala, and especially regarding the days of Karbala. But we miss out on a lot of the things that he did during the time of the Prophet, his father, and the time of his brother, Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. And inshallah to shed some light on his holy life and for us to take some lessons away Today H. D.F will give us a talk about Imam Hussein. If we could all welcome him with the loudest of our salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله الحمد لله الذي جعل الإيمان لنا تطهيرا من الشرك ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب الله رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه المنتجبين أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى صدق الله العلي العظيم. My dear respected brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. It's nice to see you all, and I begin by sending my congratulations to you all, to the Islamic Ummah, to the Ulama ad-Din, and to Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, Ajjal Allah Ta'ala Faraj al-Sharif, as we entered the month of Sha'ban. Not only did we enter a holy and important month within the religion of Islam, but we entered a whole heap of occasions where we celebrate the births of our Imams, and we celebrate the births of the members of the household of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. And as always, as we say, that these times, they are good for celebrating and remembering and having a joyous occasion, but they're also a time for reflection. They're a time for learning, and they're a time for us gaining lessons and implementing them within our lives. So if we want to say that we are lovers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, before we say we are Shia, by the way, as you remember the hadith by Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, when he says, do not say that you are a Shia. Don't burden yourself with something you cannot live up to. Rather say you are a lover of the Ahlul Bayt. So we are lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, and inshallah one day we can strive to become Shia of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. But in order to do that, we need to connect with the Imams. We need to connect with them, learn about them, and build that muhabba and that ma'rifah. Right? I could say that maybe it's very safe to say that we have that muhabba for the Ahlul Bayt. And yes, we love them. These are the household of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, and we have that love. But do we have that ma'rifah? Right? We're always talking about having ma'rifah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is important. Yes?
What is this word ma'rifah?
Ma'rifah. Thank you, David. Yes, no, thank you, I apologize. Ma'rifah is to have that knowing. So if you say ma'rifah, it's like you know something. So ma'rifah is a deep knowing of a particular person or thing and so forth. So when it comes to the Imams, we want that deep ma'rifah, that deep understanding and knowing of the Imams, so we can connect with them. So if I was to say that me and David are friends, but I don't know much about David, how is my relationship then with David? We would say that it's a poor relationship. I don't know much about him. I don't know that, he likes Japanese food, or he likes to go shooting at the shooting range, or, fishing and things like that. Right? I only know these things because I've taken an effort to learn about David and to build a connection between myself and David. But the question we need to ask is, do we take that effort when it comes to the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam? Do we take that effort when it comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? Do we take that effort when it comes to the Holy Quran? And do we more importantly make that effort when it comes to what? To Allah Azza wa Jal. So these are all relationships that we need to work on. So when it comes to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, it's an interesting story. And I speak on behalf of myself before I speak on behalf of anybody. I'm sure all of you know a lot more than what I know. But when it comes to the time of Karbala, or the days of Muharram and Ashura, what do we learn about Imam al-Hussein? Or what do we know about Imam al-Hussein? Some of us may know what happened on the 10th of Muharram, which is great. Some of us think we know what happened in those 10 days. So You ask most of us when we were growing up, how many days were the Ahlul Bayt without water? And we would say 10 days. Because we thought, you know, the first 10 days of Muharram, it's 10 days. No. Some narrations even go to say 1 day, but most say 3 days. Okay, we don't know much about that event. Maybe we know about Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam's life from the time that Muawiyah alayhi la'natullah died. And he appointed Yazid alayhi la'natullah. We say, oh, maybe from that point we may know about Imam al-Hussein's life. And what do we know? That he went and confronted them, you know, and they had the members of the household, then he went to Mecca and he migrated, and then he went to Kufa and all these sort of stories. On the way to Kufa, he stopped at Karbala. But Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he was how old when he was martyred? 57 years old. 57. So, according to logic and mathematics, there's about 56 years and 355 days that are unaccounted for by the Shia of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. That's a lot. 56 years. If I ask you right now to tell me about your life, and I'll pick the youngest person in this room, and that's the young brother over there. He's maybe what? He looks about 9 years old. If there's someone younger, no offense. And he could sit and tell me about his life. Oh yeah, I did this and I did that, and you know, I bought this and I ate that, and I said this to him, and blah blah blah. And he'll tell us. But here our own Imam, there's 56 years which are unaccounted for. Okay, and I know the history is tough, yeah? We don't have everything in the history books. But we have enough to understand who our Imam was. We have enough to build that ma'rifah with our Imam. We certainly have enough for that. So this is what we need to do. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Okay, so according to some narrations, the Imam was born on the 3rd of Sha'ban. And what I found in Shaykh al-Mufid's Kitab al-Irshad is that he was born on the 5th of Sha'ban in the 5th year after Hijrah. Okay, we're not going to get into these details, they're not really important at the moment. You know. That's something you can look on in your own time. So we all know his mother and father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha. And of course his grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So just to quickly brush over the customs, so we know inshallah, for those who have children probably know these customs, and for those who don't have children, inshallah when you have children, these are customs that you should know, Islamic customs for when a child is born. So when the child was born, when Imam Hassan and Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam were born, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he would read the adhan in the right ear, and he would read the iqamah in the left ear. And he would shave their head, whatever hair was on their head, and he would take the weight of that in silver or gold, and he would give it to the poor and charity. And then he will do an aqiqah ceremony, which is basically slaughtering of a sheep or a goat or something, and giving that as well for the poor people as well. And he would even give, I think it's a leg of mutton, although I don't know what a leg of mutton is, right? And he would give that to the midwife. So, yes?
Mutton is adult sheep. Lamb is young sheep.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. Thank you. I was waiting for you to actually say that. Okay. So he would give that to the midwife. Okay, and so these were some of the customs, and then of course, then there was when they would do circumcision and things like that. But yeah, so these were some of the customs of when a child was born. So the household that which Imam Hussein alayhi salam was born into is a very purified household. Okay, and I don't want to go into that because every single talk that you would hear about Imam al-Hassan or Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam focuses a lot on the household that they were brought in. So we know they were brought in a household that represented Islam. We'll share one verse just so that we touched upon it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَمَنْ حَاجَكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْا نَدْعُوا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسُنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. So we all know the story when the Christians of Najran came along and they were debating Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih, then they had the event of the mubahala. So they would come and they would both pray, and Allah would send His curse upon the liars. And as we know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih took along with him to receive the curse, right, from the Christians. He took with him his household, the Ahlul Bayt. So this is the house that Imam Hussein alayhi salam was brought up in, but we don't really want to talk much about that because we've heard that all our lives growing up. So let us try and learn a little bit about Imam Hussein alayhi salam's character. Just a little bit about his character. Because surely we can learn something from his character. So there's a couple of stories that I found. And stories are important. Because the Quran speaks to us in a narrative, in a story, in anecdotes, in parables. Why? Because that's how we learn. That's how we learn. So if you want to get a message across, you sometimes tell a story. When you tell a story, that message is received a lot better, right? So if I sit here and tell you, to be generous is going to be tough. Well, okay. But if I tell a story about being generous, and sometimes how you have to sacrifice to be generous, that holds water a lot more, doesn't it? So you want to hear a story about being generous? Maybe for some other time.
That's not generous of you.
Okay, so at work today, I was in the morning, I didn't have much to do, so I went to where one of the bricklayers was laying. It was a tight spot, and I said, I'm going to help you. He said, no, it's okay. I'll go set another one up. I've set this one up, you go ahead. That's very nice of you. That's very generous of you. His name is Joe. He's a very good name, Irish fellow. So he goes and he starts setting up another wall. But unfortunately for him, the other wall was very difficult to set up. So I heard that he was pretty upset at me. So later in the afternoon he says to me, he goes, were your ears burning you? Meaning that he was talking ill of me and my ears should be burning because he was talking ill of me. These folk tales and, So I said to him, that's okay. He goes, oh look, I'm only joking. Okay, that's alright, but remember something. When you want to be generous, it costs you. That's why it's generosity. And he froze for a moment and he goes, yes. There's a story. Was that generous enough, Hashim? Okay, great. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his humility. So one day, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, he says, he was on his way going to meet the Imam. And he came across an old man, an old poor man. So this poor man says to him, look, I'm in great poverty, my clothes are tattered, and I have no shoes. I don't dare to go to the Imam in this state. So he goes, can you please do a petition or speak on my behalf so I can see the Imam? So, of course, Jabir takes him along with him. And when they arrived to see Imam Hussein alayhi salam, so you'd expect Jabir here to say, Ya Imami, this is Fulan, he would like to speak to you. If you could have some time to sit down and talk to him. If you want to go have a meeting with some sort of leader in the world, you have to, make an appointment. They have to explain who this person is, and so on and so forth. And some people are arrogant. Like, for example, our good mate, Donald Trump, today made Malcolm Turnbull wait for 3 hours until Hadar Janabu, he came down and felt sorry. Right? So, you go, and he's trying to get this person to petition so he can see the Imam. But before Jabir could say anything, the Imam says to the old man, come here. The old man was hesitant, he's embarrassed. He says to him, no, come here. He said, come here, the poor sit with the poor. So let's stop here. See how the Imam made that man feel comfortable. He didn't sit on his high horse, billah, and say, yes, what is it? What do you need? He says, come, the poor sit with the poor. And you notice something about all the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They had position. And they had money. Right? But it wasn't their money. It was the money of the Muslims. It was the money of the Muslims. Because you hear so many stories of how the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt, they lived such, humble lives, poor lives, they barely had to eat and all this sort of stuff. But then you hear stories of that every time someone was in need, the Imam will pop up a small bag of dirhams and he'll give him. Here's 1,000 dirhams, here's 100 dirhams. Where's this money come from? Khums, sadaqah and all this sort of stuff. But the Imams don't take this for themselves. Because they are leaders. Right? When people would ask Imam Ali alayhi salam, why are you eating dry bread? Why are you sewing your clothes? He says, I have to equate myself with the least fortunate of the people I'm ruling. So the Imam says to him, come here, the poor sit with the poor. And Jabir says, before I can even say a word on this man's behalf, the Imam gave him a new dress and gave him 100 dirhams.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Seeing the generosity, the humility and the modesty of the Imam, I was absolutely charmed. So here we take a lesson that yes, you may hold a certain position. You may hold a certain respect. And a certain status in the community or wherever it may be. But that does not give you a right to act haughtily with people. To act rough with people. To walk around like you're some arrogant, yes, I'm the best in the world. What does the Quran say? Why do you walk around like that? You can't tear apart the mountains, can you? Nothing you can do. In fact, the Quran says, عباد الرحمن يمشون على الأرض هونا. The servants of the merciful, look at even the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala words it. The servants of the merciful. It's even that in itself is beauty. Allah didn't say the servants of the most powerful, the servants of the merciful, because the servant needs to be like the one he is worshipping, right? Doesn't the Imam Sadiq alayhi salam say, take your characteristics from Asma Allah al-Husna? So they walk humbly along the earth. So we see this from the Imam. Another story. So the Imam alayhi salam, he left Medina and he went to go to Mecca. And this was on his way to Karbala, as a matter of fact. So Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he wanted to come and visit the Imam. So when the Imam arrived in Mecca, he saw the poor people and he sat with them. So here Abdullah ibn Zubayr is waiting. Right? He's sitting there waiting. So he thinks that the Imam's sitting with some poor people. They're going to tell him, oh look, I have no money, I have no food. And the Imam's going to say, okay, here's a bag of 100 dirhams and that was. No. So Abdullah is waiting. Abdullah is waiting. Then eventually, when the people left, Abdullah was upset because he had to wait a while. And this is what he says. O son of the messenger, you allowed those people to remain with you for a long time. You should have given them whatever you wanted to give and bid them farewell immediately. Right? Is that what it is? You're a leader. You don't care about the people? Or you just see what they need and you... So what does Imam Hussein alayhi salam reply? And keep in mind, these replies are insights for us into the character of the Imam. So we see he had a very tender character. As much as we see he was a revolutionary and he was a warrior, right? And nothing could shake his heart, he had a very tender heart. Very tender heart. So the Imam replies, Ibn Zubayr, the upheavals of the times have made them deprived. The rulers do not pay any attention to them. I, though, I would hear the woes of these poor people in detail and lighten the burden of their hearts. O Ibn Zubayr, I am the grandson of a grandfather who used to sit with the people of Sufaq, the homeless people of Medina, after the morning prayer and remain with them till mid-morning, inquiring about their well-being. So this gives us an insight into where he learned this from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. From the Holy Prophet himself sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would sit after Salat al-Fajr till mid-morning. You know, sometimes you pray Fajr and then you can't wait to go back to bed. You know, your eyes are burning. Do you know that feeling? The eyes are burning, you're yawning, you finished and you want to go back to bed. Or you need to go get ready for work or whatever. Well, the Prophet, he would sit till mid-morning. So I'm going to assume if you're praying Salat al-Fajr at around 6 or 5, mid-morning will probably be about 9 before it hits noon around 12. Rough estimate. So he's spending about 3-4 hours with these people. That's humility. Now we need to ask ourselves the question, if we were in that situation, would we be that humble? I don't want to elaborate on that. So, let's have a look at a couple of hadiths from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So this hadith is narrated by Imam al-Sadiq. So I'll read in Arabic, then I'll translate in English. قال الصادق عليه السلام حدثني أبي عن أبيه. So Imam al-Sadiq says, my father told me from his father. So Imam al-Baqir told him from Imam Zayn al-Abidin. And this is what Imam Zayn al-Abidin عليه السلام says. إن رجلا من أهل الكوفة كتب إلى أبي الحسين بن علي عليه السلام يا سيدي أخبرني بخير الدنيا والآخرة. So a man from the people of Kufa, he wrote to Imam Hussein عليه السلام, and he said, tell me the good of this world and the good of the next world. So the Imam writes back, فكتب صلوات الله عليه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما بعد. So he wrote back in the name of Allah, and then أما بعد, and then. فإن من طلب رضاء الله بسخط الناس كفاه الله أمور الناس ومن طلب رضاء الناس بسخط الله وكله الله إلى الناس والسلام. So he says, whoever seeks the pleasure of Allah by seeking the displeasure of people, Allah will fix his situation amongst the people. And whoever seeks the pleasure of the people at the displeasure of Allah, Allah left him for the people. That's what he says. So this really makes us think. Right? This makes us think about what do we choose? The pleasure of Allah or the pleasure of the people? How important to us is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How important is that?
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So how important is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us? Do we choose making people happy or making Allah happy? So there is an interesting hadith, I just lost it on my phone, so I'll get it right now. And it's a hadith from Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he is giving advice to Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. He says to him, try to the best of your ability not to displease your Lord by pleasing any of his creatures. For verily, Allah can easily substitute a servant for another. But the servant has no substitute, or no one can substitute Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's just say you're doing something for the pleasure of Allah, and Fulan gets upset. Right? Fulan gets upset. Let him go. Allah will replace him for you. Right? Allah will replace him for you. But if you choose a servant, if you choose a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do you think there can be another Allah who will come to your rescue? It's important. That's very important. We want the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want the pleasure. So what are some of the things that are signs of the pleasure of Allah? So you want the pleasure of Allah, and you want to know what the signs are of the pleasure of Allah. And this is a very, very nice hadith from Nabi Musa alayhi salam. It's a very nice hadith. And think about this in these coming days coming to Ramadan. روي إن موسى عليه السلام قال يا ربي أخبرني عن آية رضاك عن عبادك. He says, oh my Lord, tell me a sign of Allah's pleasure, of your pleasure towards your creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and the hadith goes, فَأُوحَى اللَّهُ تَعَالَى إِلَيْهِ إِذَا رَأَيْتِنِي أُهَيِّئُ عَبْدِي لِطَاعَتِي وَأُصَرِّفُ عَنْ مَعْصِيَتِي فَذَلِكَ آيَاتُ رِضَايَ. He says, if you see me getting my servant ready for my worship and keeping him away from disobeying me, from sinning against me, this is a sign of my pleasure. So, to put it in layman terms, or in these terms these days, you know when you're going through life, and then you get this religious phase, yeah? Can we call it that in quotation marks? You know, this religious phase. It usually happens around in the next 3 weeks, Ramadan, hint, hint, right? And then it will die off after about a month, Eid, hint, hint. And then it will come back again a few months later, Muharram, hint, hint. Right? This is our religious phases, if you want to be completely honest. Sayyid Muhammad Hussein Tabatabai, he says something beautiful. He says, whenever a breath of the wind of mercy Allah comes your way, take it, because you don't know when it will come again. So when you get into these religious phases, don't just think of them as religious phases. Don't just be caught up in the moment. No, take it in. Take it in. Because this could be a sign of Allah's pleasure towards you. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, do not push away a blessing by being ungrateful. And how is one way of being grateful? By taking that blessing and making sure you hold on to it. Making sure you hold on to it. And one more hadith, because I think I'm running out of time. So, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he says, and this is a very famous hadith, we all know it, or most of us, إن الناس عبيد الدنيا والدين لاعق على ألسنتهم. Okay. I can't even read my Arabic right, so I'll just say it in English. I know in English. So what happens is, he says that people are slaves of this world, and religion is just something on their tongue. Whenever they are tested, right, they return to the religion basically. And whenever the trials are removed from them, very little are the people who are devoted. So this is very interesting. You know, when you're in trouble and you're going through a tough time, you begin to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You begin to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You start praying, Ya Allah, khalisna min hamsiba, irfa raf'at bala. You start paying charity. You never paid charity before. You start paying charity. I don't know what I'm going to do about this problem, and all this sort of stuff. Right? But then, when things are alright, tahmal khafif, we say in Lebanon, yeah? You hold lightly. You don't care, yeah? You actually don't care. And sometimes we think that this is a good thing. Right? Yeah, Allah is there to answer us whenever we want. Right? We call unto Him, and He's meant to, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us He will answer. Right? We all say that verse, right? وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان. Okay? But there's the other part of the verse. You know the other part of the verse? The second half that doesn't look so good when you hang it up on the wall because it reminds you of something. فَلَيُؤْمِنُوا بِي. So, but they have to believe in me. And they have to follow me, so I can give them what? The rushd, that guidance. Yeah, Allah, He'll answer your call. He'll answer your dua, but you have to believe in Allah. You have to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we should try and do that, read verses in their whole. And just wanted to share a last hadith and something we can think about in terms of a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we do this a lot. And it's through a chain of narrations, and it comes down to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, who said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, Ya ibn Adam, أطيعني فيما أمرتك ولا تعلمني ما يصلحك. Oh, son of Adam, obey me, what I have ordered you, and don't tell me or teach me what's good for you. It's a little harsh, but think about it. آخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Thank you so much for that beautiful and really engaging talk. There was a lot to take away from it. And every segment you started, I'm like, when I come up as MC, I'm going to relate to that segment. And by the time we started the next one, I already forgot the last one. So one of the last things you said, which I found really interesting, is about our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we have those religious phases. And I remember very clearly there was this scholar talking about that, and he was saying that as a whole, the Muslim nation, we have those religious phases. And I think he was getting some people in the crowd which all didn't really agree with him. And he's like, alright, let me put it to a test for you guys. How much do you guys remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when somebody passes away? Now tell me, how much do you remember Allah when there's a wedding? Do you remember the same amount? And it's like, inshallah, whenever you read as much Quran in a wedding as you do when somebody passes away, then you can say that you're consistent with your iman. So since everybody's very focused because of the beautiful talk by Brother Biden, inshallah I'll do the announcements now rather than after the break. So just a couple of quick announcements. First of all, we're very fortunate, alhamdulillah. We're going to be doing a spiritual night, A'mal night, for Nisf Sha'ban, which is going to be the Thursday coming up. We're going to start at 8 p.m. We're fortunate enough to have Dr. Ansari and Sayyid Muhammad Ghurabi to recite for us, and inshallah Brother Rida will join us as well. It's going to be mostly focused at actually doing A'mal, and there will be some little discussions in between. And it's beautiful because it's on a Thursday night, and it's highly recommended to read Dua Qumayn. Thursday nights is already very recommended to read Dua Qumayn, and that is one of the A'mal. So just for everybody who's interested and wants to come, it's going to start at 8 p.m. and just to let you know, I can't guarantee it, but it will take around 2 hours. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but around 2 hours. And obviously nobody has to stay for the whole amount. There is Salah Jafra Tayyar involved and other A'mal as well. So a little surprise as well. So inshallah next Friday when we're doing our 15th of Sha'ban event, we have Sheikh Liqa'i who sent us all a message. If I could get Emir to just play it, and inshallah we can hear a message from Sheikh Liqa'i.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters in Victoria, particularly Melbourne. It will be my pleasure to join you inshallah during one of the 4 biggest auspicious celebrations, and that is the celebration of the birth anniversary of Imam al-Hujjah Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Inshallah, I look forward to join you during the Q&A. So please do come with your questions, but hey, take it easy, not very difficult one. See you then.
So as Sheikh Liqa'i just mentioned, please do prepare all your questions for him. We are taking all the questions. We're going to give it to him in advance, so inshallah he can prepare for them all. I'll be honest, we haven't received any questions, so alhamdulillah, that's great. Everybody knows everything. It's always good to know that. But if there is one thing that you might have not known or forgotten, please do please forward the questions. And as I'm talking about it, I'll say one more time, we do have a very big 15th of Sha'ban event, which is Friday, next Friday inshallah, so there will be no program here. A lot of brothers and sisters have put in a lot of work for this program. We would love to see you all. There's a lot happening and it is for free, so please do bring your family, friends and share the word inshallah. And we'll have a 5 minutes break and inshallah we'll have the Dr. Ansari next. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.